Burning that cozy scented candle feels like peak self-care, right? Wrong. It's actually disturbingly similar to idling a diesel engine in your living room, releasing microscopic toxins that bypass your body's defenses. Okay, I know that sounds like a lot, but when you understand what these candles are actually made of, you'll uncover some surprising things, to say the least, that you are releasing into the air in your home when you burn them. And here is why this is crucial, especially if you're already paying attention to clean living. So maybe you've ditched paraffin and switched to soy or coconut wax candles. Maybe you burn incense instead, or perhaps you diffuse essential oils, believing you're making a healthier choice. Because the problem is, even those better options often aren't as clean as you think and are probably still harming your health. They're triggering those vague symptoms. There's quite a few of these health wash pitfalls you really don't want to fall for. And then also the one really insidious way burning candles, incense, or anything similar can be harming you. So let's look at how you can have your house smelling good without it poisoning you. Now, let's start with the most obvious part, the scent, which coincidentally is the part most people never think about. So the way candles smell is clearly a big reason why we buy them, right? But have you ever wondered what actually creates that ocean breeze or vanilla cookie smell? Because there's actually quite a few other things added to the wax of the candles. There's the synthetic dyes, stabilizers, and then our biggest offender, artificial fragrances. Because that single word fragrance or perfume on the label is a Trojan horse. Which is why we need to pay attention, even if you ditch paraffin for a cleaner wax and buy a better for you candle, which we'll address also later, it might still be toxic. Why? Well, when these chemicals burn that we just mentioned, which are still found in all sorts of eco-friendly candles, they release volatile organic compounds or VOCs. And these chemicals are linked to hormone disruption, neurotoxicity, reproductive issues, and allergies. Because of trade secret loopholes, manufacturers can legally hide thousands of different chemicals and have zero obligation to tell you what they are. Some chemicals hidden under the umbrella term fragrance are so toxic, they are classified as hazardous waste in other industrial applications. And the final insult here is that the vast majority of these thousands of fragrance chemicals have never been properly tested for safety when heated and inhaled. Okay, let's look at the wick next. The string that holds the flame. It seems simple enough. However, sometimes, especially in cheaper or imported candles, wicks often have a metal core to help them stand straight. While lead cores are mostly banned here in the US, other metals like zinc are still allowed. And imported candles don't always get checked properly, so lead can still sneak through. But why should you care about a little metal? It's because burning them means you could be inhaling trace amounts of heavy metals, which are very toxic and build up in your body over time. And when it comes to lead, there is no such a thing as only a little bit. No levels of lead exposure is safe. Okay, so we have the sketchy fragrances and perhaps metals in the wick. If this stuff is so bad, how is it allowed? Now, while I am generally wary of excessive government control, as people can make their own informed choices, there is a difference between that and expecting basic honesty about chemical ingredients from manufacturers, especially for stuff affecting your health. It seems like common sense, but that transparency often isn't there, even with something like candles. And understanding why reveals a lot. See, candle regulation, like from the CPSC in the US, focuses almost entirely on fire safety. Will it burn your house down? Is the jar sturdy? Important things, sure. But what about the stuff you inhale? The actual chemical ingredients in the wax or those synthetic additives like fragrances are not regulated. And this massive gap means there is minimal scrutiny on the long-term health effects of breathing these fumes. The industry largely polices itself. So while the added fragrances are sketchy, the wicks have their own issues and the safety rules are focused elsewhere, it's not great. But the real reason that diesel comparison from the beginning of the video is valid, and frankly, the most significant health concern we need to talk about, boils down to what the candle is actually made of and the invisible stuff it creates when it burns. And this comes in two parts. So let's finally talk about the wax itself. Most conventional candles use paraffin wax, which sounds very common and harmless. However, paraffin is a byproduct of refining petroleum. It's the leftover sludge from making gasoline and diesel fuel. So it's literally fossil fuel waste, cleaned up and packaged nicely. And because this waste product is cheap, it's everywhere. And that makes it feel normal. But when you burn it, that combustion process releases known carcinogens, chemicals like benzene, toluene, and formaldehyde directly into your air. All are known carcinogens and are linked to a long list of health issues. Then the last piece of this puzzle, why conventional candles are so harmful, is ultrafine particles, UFPs. Think of these as microscopic soot, way smaller than even fine dust. They're so tiny they can bypass your lungs' defenses, go straight into your bloodstream, travel through your body, and potentially cause issues like inflammation, even reaching the brain. They're mostly generated from burning fossil fuels. Vehicle exhaust and industrial combustions are major sources. But also when you burn paraffin wax, because it comes from petroleum. So when you burn a candle in your home, you're releasing both the chemical fumes we discussed earlier and these deeply penetrating ultrafine particles into your home. And before you ask, no, burning a single candle isn't the same as running a diesel engine indoors, but this exposure is cumulative. And since most people light candles nightly, often in poorly ventilated rooms, over time that cozy ritual is quietly building up your toxic load, which by its nature affects the most vulnerable first: children, pregnant women, and anyone with asthma or allergies. And if you now think candles are concerning, research indicates that burning incense is often even worse. Studies have shown incense can create more ultrafine particles and pollutants than even cigarette smoke, and has been linked to increased cancer risk, particularly highlighted in studies involving temple workers and children who are exposed regularly. And no, this isn't a fringe conspiracy, so if you want references or to go deeper, I've linked all my resources in the description below. Okay, the good news is you don't have to give up candles entirely. The goal is simply choosing options with the lowest possible emissions. Focus on candles explicitly made with 100% natural wax like coconut, beeswax, or pure soy, not soy blends, which often hide paraffin. Ensure the scent comes only from 100% pure essential oils, not vague terms like fragrance or perfume. And the wick should also be 100% cotton or wood, never metalcore. Or here's a new hobby for you: make your own. All you need is natural wax, pure essential oils, and a suitable wick. It's cheaper in the long run, non-toxic, ensures you know exactly what's in it, and honestly, it's kind of fun. Now, if you want the scent without the flame, skip plastic diffusers. Ultrasonic diffusers often contain plastic components that can break down over time when used with essential oils, which potentially releases microplastics into the air. Instead, go with glass nebulizing diffusers. They don't use plastic, they don't require water or heat, and preserve the full integrity of the essential oils without off-gassing anything toxic. So, switching to truly non-toxic candles is honestly one of the simplest, most impactful upgrades for a healthier home. But if something as seemingly simple as a candle hides so many issues, what exactly is in the products you put directly on your skin every day? In this next video, we're exposing the beauty industry's biggest secret and breaking down how your go-to products might be silently wrecking your health.